I accepted the identity of just, you're going to be on the struggle bus forever. Your mom doesn't come from money. Your whole family doesn't really come from money. That's just what you're going to be.
Most high achieving women don't have a strategy problem, they have an identity problem. Melissa Bright is a self help coach that helps women stop getting in their own way. In this conversation, we're exploring the identity shifts that have to happen before income and success expand.
Welcome, Mel. I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you, Desi. I'm excited for this conversation.
Before you were supporting other women with
Mhm.
self-worth, what was your relationship like with yourself?
Oh, not good. Not good. Um, but it was nothing that I was like really aware of until I started doing this work back in 2020.
Hmm.
Um, Inner critic was pretty loud. There were definitely some big things, events in my life that shaped that, just losing my mom at 25 really shook my self-worth more than I ever thought it could. But when you kind of lose that support system, some of your identity like start like, who am I without my mom? Like just figuring all this stuff out on your own. Um so before that it just I was at war with myself, and it just wasn't fun. So, yeah, I wanted to change that and not be at war with myself anymore.
So what did your like daily life look like at that point
Before like doing this work,
before?
well, one, I was not doing what I wanted to do. I was a travel agent. I was a travel agent because my ex-boyfriend's mom was in the industry and got me into it. It was fun. It was great. Got to travel to awesome places, but I knew in my heart of hearts that that's not what I wanted to do. So I just felt like I was going just along with life, just feeling like it was something to survive and just get through. It wasn't like I made this choice and now I'm getting to reap the benefits of this choice. It was just anything that was coming at me from life, I was just dealing with in the moment. Um and I didn't like that. Like deep down, there was always something that was like, I am supposed to be doing something else, living a different way. But am I even worthy of that? What does that even look like? What does that even mean? I don't know, but I know it's something's down there boiling, but I don't know what it is. Um, so yeah, just not living life the way I wanted to.
So were there any like labels that you lived quietly under, like I'm the responsible one, I'm behind, I'm not
Yes.
consistent?
Yes. The two biggest labels that have held me back was I'm just always going to be a struggling single mom.
Mm.
I had my daughter at 16, and that is kind of a label that society places on you in the first place that, oh, you have a kid young, you're going to struggle for sure. I did for sure. Um, and then with my mom being a struggling single mom after my parents divorced, subconsciously, unbeknownst to me, this was driving so many behaviors. I accepted the identity of just, you're going to be on the struggle bus forever. Your mom doesn't come from money. Your whole family doesn't really come from money. That's just what you're going to be. You're not one of those people that makes $100,000, 200, whatever. Like, that's not
Right.
ever going to be your life. That identity. Um, what other one? The money one has been the biggest one, and another one was probably this one wasn't as obvious, but like I just mess everything up. Um,
Okay.
my dad's was pretty hard on me, and so I just trusting myself to make any decisions, I guess, or second guessing myself. Um, I'm gonna mess it up in some way. I'm wrong. I'm bad. I always make mistakes. Um, or I have to be perfect because
Right.
perfection just gets you all kinds of, approval and acceptance, and that people can't tear you apart if you're perfect. Um, you can
Right.
go to bed sleeping well, know that you just, yeah, it's just crazy. So I would say those were probably the biggest labels that I put on myself.
Yes, I can totally relate to parents affecting us in so many ways that sometimes we don't even realize. We just
Oh,
kind of just running through life, just living.
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So how did that way of seeing yourself shape the choices that you made?
Mm, it everything that I did would just confirm what I believed about myself. I did not have this verbiage, I did not have this awareness, but subconsciously, every single thought that I believed about myself or about the world or about money struggles was just manifesting into my life. So I was always struggling with bills. I was always living paycheck to paycheck. Um, it just always showed up, and then I would always be like, well, this is what happens. I'm just always going to be the one that's struggling. um so looking back now, I can see choices that I made even in relationships. Even in relationships, the choices I made, just what I just manifested another version of my dad. And then I'm like, I
Right.
don't get it. I don't get it. And then when I got it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense why I made that choice. Um, it's nothing I shame myself about now. It's just like it makes sense. These were your thoughts. Like it makes sense that this is what your reality turned into. The choices you made were from the thoughts and beliefs you held about yourself. So yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just like behavior, it was the identity underneath that behavior. And it was like almost like reinforcing what you believed, your constant actions.
Exactly, exactly. And like I said, none of this, I knew none of this
Yes.
until I started doing the work and then I could look back. But then that was a very beautiful thing because instead of shaming myself and being mad at myself for staying in a relationship for 7 years that wasn't serving me, or, not starting my purpose in life until I was 34, there was so many things that I just didn't know, and things that happened to me that shaped who I thought I was at the time and who I was going to be forever. Um, but yeah, those things fortunately shifted once I went on a journey to change
Right.
that.
I mean, it's good that you got to the point where you could have awareness. I think there's so many people that just never get there. They're just like, their whole lives are like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep bringing the
Mm,
same people into my life? And it just stays there, constant loop.
it does. And those are the people that I like want to help so bad. Like
Yes.
I'm like, I've been there, done that. I did this for years and years and years. Trust me, that is a great question that you're asking yourself.
Yes,
Now you just
absolutely.
got to see the answer and then you're like, "Oh my god." And it's okay.
When you trace the self-image back, do you think it was like more of the early experiences that shaped it, or was it more like adult life stuff?
This is a really good question. So both, of course, both. Um my dad, early childhood, I would say my dad had more of an influence because he was so hard on me. He was extremely critical, extremely judgmental. So that was a big part of that in my childhood. But the single most biggest event that like shaped my identity was like losing my mom. It
Right.
just shook every foundation. And that was when I was 25. So it was definitely both. Uh, which is like, I don't want to say it's crazy, but this is our identity is like ever evolving all
Right.
the time. Just so much of our identity does come from childhood, and some people just stick with that identity from
Yes.
childhood until they pass away.
Yes.
But then as things, happen to them, a lot of times it's manifesting just as the same things it did in childhood. But yeah, for me, it was definitely both adulthood and childhood.
So when you were growing up, what got rewarded in your house? Was it like being helpful? You said, I know you mentioned being perfect,
Uh-huh.
that you had to kind of like remain there. Is there anything else that you had to be?
Oh my God, rewarded. I don't know that I ever was. I'm trying to think, like my mom, I really have nothing bad to say about my mom, even though I'm sure she caused me a lot of trauma. I just did feel loved by her. But in terms of being rewarded, it definitely was you need to be perfect. I'm 6 feet tall. So my dad was like, you're going to be a basketball player and you're going to be a
Oh,
really good basketball player. So you better be really good. And I was not. I was average, but it was not something. So as long as I was good on the basketball court, then my dad would be happy with me, but that was not, I mean, he it literally was an impossible task with him. I mean, he brought me in the room when I was in 3rd grade and reprimanded me about things I did wrong on the basketball court. Like I'm in 3rd grade and I'm like looking back, I'm like,
Right.
this is insane. Um, so that didn't really answer your question in terms of it was like I think rewarded was just a lot of people pleasing and a lot of appeasing. Just make my dad happy or attempt to in whatever possible way you can. Um and I continued to try to do that for my whole life to get his approval and he wasn't even in my life. Like that's crazy.
Right. I can totally relate because my dad was the same way. I had to be a certain way. I had to fit in a certain box for me to be worthy of like even speaking to me. So like I can totally relate.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's exhausting.
It is.
Mm.
So can you give me an example of like how this showed up later, like in your business and money boundaries, like having to be perfect or having to fit into a certain mold?
It showed up in everything.
Every-
Every possible way. I already said it manifested in my relationships, my
Right.
identity. You know, that one wasn't as obvious. I had to go through that relationship to really see the wounds come up in the relationship. Um, but I I just really played life safe. I after my mom died, I didn't finish college because it happened so quickly like after that. Um so I'm forgetting the question now. Remind me of the question again.
If you could give me an example of how it showed up in your business, money, boundaries, like
Mm,
how you had
yes.
to. Mm.
Okay, thank you. It really showed up everywhere, but the most biggest part that affected me that I was most insecure about was probably like the money things.
Right.
Just because I was trying to be an example of my daughter, I probably wasn't being the best example in terms of the way that I would talk about money, the way I would be stressed out about money, you know. Um, so it was just always showing up, but I would definitely say just the struggle of just always believing like that is what is going to happen in my life, just living paycheck to paycheck, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Um, Money has always been probably my biggest limiting belief and biggest struggle. Relationships, yeah, that's fine, but like whatever. I don't know why that's never been like my thing that's made me like super insecure. Um, Money, people pleasing, boundaries, no, not happening. Like,
Right.
whatever, it's fine. I mean, I wouldn't say I just allowed people to like crazily walk all over me,
Right.
but there were subtle things that I would just say yes to instead of saying no to. Um so it kind of was a little bit of everything, but my biggest was the way it showed up in my financial life.
Okay. So do you remember what was happening in your body like before you made the shift to who you are now? Like how did you feel in your body? Were you tense? Were you, some people are crying. Were you always like on hold or waiting for something to happen?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I already struggled with debilitating anxiety from like losing my mom, so that was really hard. Um, on the cusp of like me stepping outside of my comfort zone and like starting to heal, my body I mean, literally freaked out for 2 weeks. My manifestation of my anxiety is I get really, really bad, like, stomach cramps.
Right.
So, for 14 days straight, almost unbearable, like, stomach cramps, and I'm like it all was just because I was starting to interview a lot bigger names on my podcast. I was working for a company, interviewing world-renowned experts. So, all this stuff that, like, was so foreign to me, I had never interviewed people, I had never done any of this. My body was essentially like, what is this girl doing? We are in the middle of a freaking, like, I don't know what's going to happen to this girl second to second. And it was not fun. That happens way less now, but I won't say it never happens because if we're constantly like trying to level up and do scary things, there's still potential that your body could, like, okay, what is
Right.
she doing now? And like you feel it. Um, but yeah, on that cusp of stepping outside my comfort zone at the very beginning and doing like life totally different than I had ever done,
Mm.
it was bad. My nervous system was very scared and did not feel safe at all.
So when you finally made the shift, how did you start feeling after? Like I know you said you mentioned you still kind of have to like fight or deal with your nervous system reacting every time you try to level up a little bit more.
Hmm.
But once you realize like okay, I can do this. This is okay. Like how did you start feeling in your body?
Yeah. One of the biggest things, this has been a challenge for me because for a long time, I was such like the mindset person, like mindset, mindset, mindset.
Yes,
And I'm like, okay, yes, but there was a whole, like from here down, that's connected to this thing. And you got to
absolutely.
work on that too. And so just really learning how to create safety in my body. Um, for a long time, even like this year, I last year I kind of took a hiatus because there was some very personal things that happened in my life that kind of made me take a step back, and I had to almost like recreate that safety back in my body.
Right.
um but mindfulness, like meditation, like really helped me. um Taking the smaller steps and not the giant leaps so your body doesn't go completely berserk has been
Right.
super helpful for me. Overwhelm is something that's really big for me. So I just know that I can get easily overwhelmed and then my body will just like retreat and say, no, girl, we're not going to do this. And I don't want that. So it really has just been like slow, small, safe steps that my body doesn't go crazy, which I think is probably the best approach for a lot of people.
Right. It's interesting. Now, I want to talk to you about your clients because this
Mhm.
is where most people like actually see themselves. What do high achieving women usually think the problem is, and what is it actually?
Mm. Well, so many people think it's either I'm not disciplined enough, I'm not motivated enough, um, I don't want it enough, like somebody out there just whatever. There's other people that can do it better than me.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
not like I just don't have those capabilities. And what it actually is who you believe you are, who you believe you are not, what you believe you're capable of, what you believe you're not capable of. Um, and then just kind of, if we really like looked down at things, there's going to be some consistent patterns that we would probably pick up on relatively quickly, like in not quickly, but in a conversation,
Right.
self-sabotaging behaviors, procrastination, overthinking, rumination, perfectionism. Um, so it's usually there's an identity conflict of like who you believe you are, who you want to be, but you're like, I don't think I could get to be that. Um, and that's driving everything.
Absolutely. I think
Everything.
identity is at the top. Like we try so many times we try to start with strategy, put systems in place, and although those are needed, like we need to start at the top and things would flow
Yes.
so much easier.
Yes, exactly. And like stuff won't stick. People want to always change the behavior. I got to change the behavior. I got to change the
Yes.
behavior. And it's like, well, if you don't even believe that you're the person that can consistently stick with this behavior,
Right.
then that's going to go out the window in like a month or two. Like, I know this to be true. I have tried all these different strategies and they do
Yes.
not stick.
Right. Like you're going to regress back to who you've always been because that's who you think that's who you are.
Exactly.
There's no other way.
Exactly.
Now, what do you think they're afraid would happen if they actually change and succeeded?
Oh my gosh. Well, my biggest one was responsibility.
Right.
That's really scary. Like, what am I gonna have to do now? I told you, overwhelm was my biggest thing. So then I'm like, overwhelm with more responsibility, that's scary. They think they're gonna lose people. They're gonna
Yes.
lose the connection of whoever, oh my God, my best friend, whatever. So they think they're going to lose people in their life that they actually care about. They think that they are going to not be able to sustain this,
Right.
whoever they become. Um, One for me is I'm scared if I actually get what I want that it's going to be taken away just like my mom has been taken away, just like my dad has been taken away. It's just going to like confirm what I've subconsciously held. So I'm like, well, then if I don't want it, if I don't get it, then I can't lose it, you know?
Right.
Um, so yeah, those are some pretty big things that will definitely keep people stuck and not becoming who they want. Or the very worst one is they're scared that they're gonna like reveal what they've always thought was true. They're so
Right.
scared they're gonna confirm like, oh crap, I really am not good enough. Oh my god, I'm
Yes.
really not capable. Nobody wants to find out that truth. So they're like, well, then I just won't try it and I don't have to find that out. But that's not true. That's just what your brain's trying to tell you.
Absolutely. Yeah, the main one for me was also oh my God, the responsibility. Like if this goes right, like what am I gonna do? How is this gonna work out? What am I gonna do with the rest of my world? That was so weird.
Yeah. And like your brain comes up with the most craziest things. Oh my
Yes.
God, I'm going to be working 150 hours. I'm never going to
Yes.
see friends. And it's like, pump the brakes. Like, is that really? Maybe a couple times, but like, let's come up with a different picture than what your brain is coming up with.
Yes, it usually comes up with the most
Oh,
bizarre stuff that I don't even it's not even
it,
close.
exactly. Exactly.
Now, can you tell me about a recent client? Like what was she doing? What was she avoiding? And what did it reveal about her identity?
Mm. So let me think of this person. One of the most recent clients was somebody that was really used to getting approval in a way that was performance based.
Okay.
And they were obviously very used to being a perfectionist because this is what like got them approval and got them made their company money and all of these things. And so we really had to start. This was not who this person wanted to be anymore. They wanted to be their true authentic selves instead of just this performance machine. That was their role that they lived for so long, and they're like, I'm burnt out. My health has literally declined, throwing up in the office because I can't handle the pressure that I'm like putting under myself. So now we have been really working on changing who they believe themselves to be and working on that identity shift of, you know, I am now the person who shows up for myself, um, things like that. So, really, what identity were you living from, or who do you believe you were? And then getting to who is it that you want to be today, and why is that? Um,
Absolutely.
and it's been an incredible journey to see, like her dismantling those stories and also having the epiphanies of even like realizing I didn't even realize that I was getting so much approval or just trying to be this person that just got felt good enough only when I was performing for everybody. Um so just seeing that awareness kind of like unfold has been beautiful, that's there because they're like, okay, that's good. So now that means you have choice. You can change directions now that you see what's going on. Um, so it's been beautiful to watch.
So when they're trying to shift, like how often do they regress back into their own identity? Like they're finally starting to make progress and they're like
Hmm.
moving towards where they want to be, and then all of a sudden, like, nope, never mind.
Yeah, well, this greatly varies on the individual.
Absolutely.
Of course, like everything is not black and white. Of course, we want that. We're like, oh yay, we're gonna have
Yes.
one session and we're gonna be this new version of ourselves.
Right?
It doesn't, and it doesn't work like that. It's kind of like We want to go try something small, something that's going to confirm, something that's going to get you new evidence of like who, I'm the person that follows through. I am the person that speaks up. I am the person that whatever. They're probably going to bump up against some resistance. We're going to talk about like what happened, and then some people are just so like they're on like an awareness high that they're like, "Oh my god, like I get it. It makes sense. Like this is what I was doing and this is why I was behaving this way." And then they just kind of like are off to the races and they're like, "Now that I know, now I'm just going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this." Um and just starting to gather like all this new evidence for this identity. So it really does just vary person to person depending
Mm.
on certain things. But what I really want to do is just try to help them take these small safe steps from this new identity, and then if resistance, if old patterns come up, because they will, that's okay. We're just
Absolutely.
like readjusting, tweaking, like it is not going to be a one and done, and that is okay. This is a whole process and it's going to continue. Like I said, I still get sometimes debilitating anxiety about, I'm doing something I've never done.
Absolutely.
That's normal that your body is going to be like, yikes, you
Right.
know?
Absolutely. So I know you've mentioned this a couple of times, taking small steps to kind of like reinforce that you can do this and this is okay and it's safe. So would you say it's better to take small steps towards your goal versus trying to take like giant leaps?
Yes, 100%. 100%. One, because your nervous system is going to thank you much more with the smaller steps because even if it's you're wanting to write a book but you don't believe that you're somebody that is an author that's good enough to write a book or whatever. It is way easier for you to write one page, one paragraph today than it is like, okay, pump out a whole chapter. Like, that's just a lot of pressure to put on yourself. I know some people are like, one chapter, that's easy. But for some people, it's like, one sentence is too much. Okay. So,
Absolutely.
um, I have just been a huge advocate for even myself. Small steps is what has helped me. And then once I feel my body feels safe enough in that container, it's like, okay, I did write a paragraph. Maybe tomorrow I can write 2 pages, or maybe I can show up on TikTok live for more than 5 minutes, whatever it is. It's just like training for a marathon. Like, you're never going to start and
No,
run 10 miles out of the gate. You're going to start with like, I'm going to walk and then I might run for 3 minutes and then I'm going to walk. I'm convinced that this is how most successful people build success, is like
absolutely.
the small steps, at
Yes, I
least until there's
agree.
safety.
Right, yes. Yeah, because most people, if they try to like make giant shifts, their body, they either get stuck, they're like, then they
Mm,
start over analyzing, and then they start procrastinating. They're like, okay, maybe this is actually not for me at all.
yeah. And one thing that I haven't even talked about is the meaning that we're making behind everything that we do. Like, okay, well, if you put pressure on yourself to write a chapter and you don't wind up writing the chapter and then you shame yourself and I suck, I can't be consistent. Why do I think I could ever be an author when I can't even get
Absolutely.
a chapter out? You're making that mean something that is so not true. But if you can keep promises to yourself that I'm the person that shows up and, just writes a couple sentences, you're going to be so happy when you just wrote those couple sentences and you stuck to that promise and show your body that it's safe to do that. You'll be able to expand on that instead of going crazy.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
when someone feels stuck or frozen, what do you notice happening in their body or their nervous system?
Yeah. Well, one, they're frozen. There's some kind of sensation that's happening in their body and we want to try to locate that. I often want to just give the sensation a often ask my clients, if this could have a voice, like what would it be saying right now?
Right.
Or give me a shape, like where is it? Just because so many people aren't even aware, like body conscience, it's just like so much up here, but when
Yes.
we can like drop back into our body, um I think it's really helped my clients a lot when we do ask, um what if your nervous system, if your stomach, if your sadness, if your fear, if whatever, if it had a voice, like what would it be like trying to say right now? um but the nervous system work is just really important, and I feel like so many people, and it's okay, they're just not aware, like, oh,
There,
this is
yes.
a whole body thing that's going on. Um, the tension, like, I always hold my shoulders a lot of times, like if I'm
Right.
really like stressed out or I'm putting a lot of pressure on me, like just see how you're like sitting. Notice where there's nervousness. Is it in your stomach? Is it in your chest? Is there tightness? Is there, is it in your throat? Like just starting to get curious about that alone can help sometimes like create the safety, you
Yes.
know? Um, so yeah.
So how could they tell the difference between like pushing through and actually feeling safe?
Mm. Well, your body's going to tell you number one, like very, very quickly. Um, Pushing through obviously just feels forced. It doesn't feel like um, this ease, if you will. I mean, that is just all I used to operate from, was just this pressure.
Right.
And I could just tell, like, first of all, it doesn't make what you're doing fun.
At
Um,
all.
it doesn't make what you're doing fun, but there's so many like small things. Like for a long time, for about a month earlier this year, always had to wake up and just like put my hand on my heart and on my stomach and just say like I am safe in my body, and just do some like 4 deep breaths in to just show like, hey, your body's safe. Um, Before my mind started going through like, okay, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, and you got to do this, showing my body it is okay. You are safe now. And anything that you do after this, you're still going to be um, safe. So yeah, it's going to take practice to like be able to
Absolutely.
feel your body. If you've never done any kind of like body awareness or anything, and you're like, yeah, I've just kind of been going with it, but you also know, like, some things are
Yes.
just unavoidable, like the stomach cramps that my anxiety would give me. You're like, okay, something is going on. There is some kind of fear here that it's like freaking out or whatever. Um, so yeah, mindfulness practices can like really, really help with that. So things don't feel so forced, um, and having
Yes.
pressure.
What I used to do and I still do is when I would start spiraling, I would be like, okay, I have to breathe. It's
Yeah.
time to breathe. And I would literally do the same, like you said, 4 in, 6 out.
Yep.
And I would do it till I started feeling like calm and be like, okay, moving
Exactly.
forward.
Yeah. It sounds so simple, but it is the most powerful thing that you can do. Your body needs to go back into that parasympathetic like state.
Yes.
Also, it will slow down your thoughts literally. Your brain waves are going to slow down much more than if you're in this, beta state and you're just like, "Oh my god, all these thoughts are coming at me. I don't know what to do." Breathing is going to be the number one thing that can help that.
Yes. And so many people think it's almost ridiculous. I was one of them. When I'd be
Me
like, oh,
too.
just breathe. And I breathe all the time. I'm
Exactly.
breathing right now. What do you mean? And once I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And I was like, okay, it actually works.
Oh, yeah, I know. Because it sounds so stupid. You just want to smack somebody across the face and be like,
Yes.
"Just breathe." And you're like, "No, but really, like
I
that
have
that's
issues.
what you have to."
Yes, that's so funny. What tends to shift when someone starts moving forward?
Oh
Like,
my
is it
gosh. Sorry. Everything. It's such an exciting time. Their confidence starts to shift. They start seeing like, "Oh my god, maybe I really could do this. Maybe this really could be me." Their behaviors, their thoughts, start becoming like full of possibility. Um Outcomes is, I mean, the outcomes, of course, we always want to try
yes.
something and then have the idea like, okay, when I do this, I'm going to get 20 sales, or I'm going to get this. Um, the outcomes will start changing, but just be careful that you don't set yourself up for failure and you're so attached to those outcomes that then when it doesn't happen, you start retreating back. But it's literally worth it everything changes how you see yourself, how you show up, your actions, consistency, better thoughts, which all leads to better well-being in general, better relationships. I mean, my life has changed like 20-fold since
Okay.
changing who I believed that I was. I mean, completely. I wouldn't say I'm a completely different person, but I have things that I want to do in this life and help people, and I would have never
Mm,
have been able to do that being the version that I was before, which I don't shame her. She was just trying to get through life the best she
right.
could. But now like we are put here, we, have callings, have purpose, have the right to have fun in life, be our true authentic selves, and everybody deserves to be that version of themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you think it shows up like in their business? And
hmm
do you think it changes how they interact with people in general?
Yeah. So in business, it's whatever goals you're trying to go for, more money, more clients, um, what more followers, whatever it is, it's the results are eventually going to happen if you stick with this continued identity. Um, so whatever results you're looking for, I am not guaranteeing them they're going to happen immediately or they're going to happen whatever, but you're guaranteed not to get any results if you just stay stuck. Um, so whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve in your business, just know if you are consistently stepping into that version of you that does make the $100,000 a year, that does have however many clients, or that does have this, it will happen if you stay the course. And then one of these days you're going to like wake up and you're like, "Holy crap. I am her. I am her who I
Right.
thought about like a year ago or 6 months ago." But even just the little shifts of like, "Oh my god, like I raised my prices and I just told somebody this price and I have never said that. I am the girl that can name this price and not have shame about it." Um and that's just a really exciting time. You asked another part. You said what can happen in their business. What was the second part of that question?
What can happen in their business? And ooh, now I forgot.
Sorry, I went on that direction and I totally forgot the second part. Um yeah.
I was asking what can happen in their business, and does it change how they interact with other people in general?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you really do start showing up as when you believe I am somebody that can be consistent, I am somebody that can speak up, I am somebody that can set boundaries, I am somebody that can name a price that I feel totally in alignment with. Um, yeah, your relationships do change. I think for the better. Of course, I'm not saying everybody's just going to be a yes person and always say yes to you, but you just showing up more confidently, people just respond to you naturally differently because of that, you know?
Right, because you have more confidence now, and you're living
Exactly.
authentically, right?
Exactly. And people can tell like before if you're like, okay, well, so the prices for coaching are, instead of like, okay, so your whole physiology is changing and people can literally feel that. Um, which makes people trust you more. They're like, "Oh, I
Right.
can really tell that like they know what they're doing and they seem really confident in this and I really think they can help me." And yeah, sorry, my dog just barked.
Oh, no worries. So you mentioned the pricing where they finally can say the pricing out loud and change their prices. So
Yep.
how normally how do they like push through that or have the friction of like, okay, like I can't say this number, that's just too much, or that they maybe overwork themselves to prove like I'm gonna get you this for this
Mm.
amount.
Yeah, I think it's really what feels best in their body. Like, I know
Mhm.
that's not probably the answer that people want to hear. It's like, no, like, give me a number. I want to know a
Right.
number. But it's like, if you are not comfortable with saying a number, then don't say that number because it's probably not going to show up. Like, they're going to tell that there's some kind of tension or you don't even trust that number. Or they're like, people can see little micro, like, expressions. And so my biggest advice is if it doesn't feel good in your body or if it doesn't feel natural, of course, you can press the envelope a little bit, but if it just sounds like I am saying a number that is so off the wall,
Right.
maybe not do that number, like because it might not translate well and you won't feel good in your body. And that's something that I've had to work hard on too because, people I've taken advice from have told me just crazy outlandish numbers and they're like, just do it. And there was so much resistance in my body that I'm
Yes.
like, girl, what are you doing? Like, you don't have to do this. Like, this isn't the one end all be all, like, only choice you can do. Um, so I say just listen to your body. What feels good to you and comfortable and safe for you?
Right. So if you have a client that's like, I want to raise my prices, I know I'm charging too low, but perhaps they don't think, that they have enough experience
Mhm.
or they're not good enough yet, but they know that their services should be more. How would you handle that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I want to dismantle the story of why they think that they're not good enough or
Right.
like what evidence do they have for that? Um, really start breaking that story apart. And then, I mean, I really get crazy with my questions. Like, why does this number say I'm worthy of this number? Why does this number say I'm not worthy? Because at the end of the day, they are just numbers, but I get it. Like, I do get it. Um, so starting there, like tell me about the story that's popping up. Tell me what your brain is picturing, like, oh, I'm already picturing when I go and tell this next potential client, I just picture they're going to say, absolutely not. No way. I can't afford that. Are you crazy, girl? Like you're picturing something. So let's dismantle that picture um and replace that with something that feels naturally more believable to you. Um
Right.
and help with that.
Right.
It's
So
not
when you're
easy, but
helping, right. So when you're helping them break that identity and break those old beliefs, is there a moment where it just finally clicks for them and they're like, oh, okay, like I actually deserve this. I can charge these prices.
there's so many moments. Like there's so many aha moments with like asking the right questions. Um I mean the questions are so freaking powerful that like they've potentially have never been asked before. Or they're like, "Damn, I didn't even consider that." And then like you literally see a light bulb like going off in like
Yes.
their head and they're like, these are what coaches talk about, these aha moments, because aha moments now show you, oh, I don't have to stick with this story anymore. I don't have to stick with this identity anymore. I now can choose differently.
Right.
And that, like, the power of choice is everything. But you do have to have a light bulb moment, an aha moment to be able to be like, okay, I think I might actually be good enough.
Right.
Like, okay, I can believe it a little bit. And it's like, great. If you can believe it just a little bit, let's
Right.
like run with that. You don't need just I'm not good enough to, oh my God, yes. Like there's gonna be resistance, but that's okay. Um, yeah. Aha moments are
Right.
everything.
Yeah, so they don't need like a full conviction. They just need to have
Yeah.
some belief in there.
Yes. Jen Gottlieb, who I took one of her courses, she is so incredible. One of the things that she said is like, just if you can believe in yourself just a little bit more than you don't, like just a little bit more than you didn't yesterday. Like, can you
Right.
do that? Like, even 1%. And it's like, okay, 1% is not so bad. Like, that's
Right.
that's doable, you know? The
That's pretty
the
good.
small things.
Absolutely. What's one question you'd wish I asked you about identity work?
Oh, dang. Hmm. I'm really big on like the outcomes and what people make them mean. And so many people are making meanings out of well, that means I suck. That means I'm not good enough. So maybe something around like, what do people make outcomes mean about their identity?
So what do they?
I knew that. I know you're like, okay, falls back in your
Let's
court.
go.
um, yeah, that is the big like humans are meaning making machines. This is how we survive in the world. If Desi all of a sudden looks at me in a weird way, I'm like, oh, that means she is like, what did she just say? Like, we're making it mean
Right.
something. And sometimes we're spot on, and other times we are dead wrong. So when we're looking at these outcomes, like, oh my God, if I go and finally speak up, or if I finally raise my prices, you are probably attached to an outcome that you want. And so the second that somebody tells you no, the second that somebody didn't receive you speaking up well, you make that mean, well, this is how it's always going to be. Why did I speak up? Why did I raise my prices? So you're making it mean something, but deeper, you're making it mean something about who you are. I just can't be the person that
Absolutely.
ever speaks up. I just can't be the person. I'm just always going to be in this income bracket, or I'm always going to be that person, or you don't follow through. I'm just not the person who's consistent. You're always making an outcome mean something about who you are, and that's not true. If you change the meaning of that, your whole world will change. Like if you failed at something, instead of you making it mean I am a failure, I suck, I whatever, what if you made failure mean I am somebody that was actually really brave and did something really scary. I am the person that continues to step out of my comfort zone despite it being really uncomfortable. I am the person that learns something instead of staying stuck. If you make that the meaning different, and it's more true than what your brain is like trying to tell you, you will start showing up differently because you're making it mean something completely different. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's not scary. I am somebody that is brave. I am somebody stepping out of my comfort zone. Um, so changing the meaning.
So when they're trying to change that meaning, what does that look like? Is it just affirmations? Are they taking small steps?
Yeah. Both. I think I'm about to have a workshop, like two local workshops, and one of the biggest questions that I'm going to ask people is I want to come up with a plan for when somebody steps outside their comfort zone from this new identity. I'm somebody who speaks up now. I'm somebody who raises my prices. They're maybe not going to get the outcome that they want. And
Right.
immediately their brain is going to come up with something. What I want to do is I want to kind of have, like, for lack of better words, of like this wobble plan of like, what are you going to tell yourself when you do not get the outcome that you want, instead of going back to what your patterns are used to. I suck. I couldn't do this right. Why did I even try? This isn't meant for me. I'm just not good enough. So I really want to like help people um have a plan after they might not get the outcome they want, and they're going to start defaulting back to old patterns and programs.
Right.
What are you going to tell yourself if it doesn't work out? What are you going to believe about yourself differently when it doesn't work out? Which is kind of what I was saying earlier. So
Right.
that's after they take the action. Um, Prior to, I don't know if anybody's ever read the book James Clear or James Clear's Atomic Habits, but he is so big on identity. Like that is how habits
Yes.
change, that is how behaviors change, is all at an identity level. So one of the questions, or one of the things that he says, is every action you take is a vote for the type of person that you want to become. And so one time I literally made a chart, like a worksheet for my clients of like old version and new version, and
Right.
like just doing a tally kind of like, did I act from this old version or did I act in this new version? And it's kind of like a game because now you're
Mm,
consciously doing it. You're like, oh,
okay.
I'm going to consciously act like the new version of myself who shows up, who is consistent, who speaks up, who raises her prices, who whatever. Um, so that was like a fun thing because it gets people consciously thinking about it, like, oh, I want more points than my better version of
Right.
myself. Um, so it's a before you take the action, like really looking at your thoughts. Um, asking yourself questions like, if I wanted to get the outcome that I wanted, who do I need to be today? What actions do I need to be, or what actions do I need to be taking? What thoughts do I need to be thinking? Um, yeah. So there's things you can do before and after.
Yeah, I think that workshop sounds powerful because I think so many people, once they start taking steps and almost making breakthroughs, if things don't go exactly as they want them, because they have these stories in their mind, then they're like, okay, you know what? I'm going back to, my other job. It's comfortable
Yep.
there. I know what to expect, and I don't have to like deal with this.
Yep. You said it perfectly. I know what
Yes.
to expect. I at least
Yes.
know what to expect here. Here, you're literally like on an island and you're like, I don't know what is about to
Mhm.
come at me. But that is the greatest thing is you don't know what's going to come at you, and it's like that's the good news because there's so many great things. There's so many possibilities and opportunities when you step into this different version. If you stay into the same version of you that you've always been, you're going to get the same outcomes you've always
Absolutely.
got. Like literally, you will just consistently recreate your past over and over and over and over again. Um so I know that it's scary. I know that. But you can also make the unfamiliar your like new familiar, you know?
Absolutely.
Like
Uh,
I had never interviewed people in my life before. Now I've interviewed over God, 500 people, like
wow.
just a lot, you know? It's a new familiar. I don't get nervous. I don't whatever. You can make these things new. Like you're just expanding your shell, your version. I don't know.
Okay, last question. If you
Yes.
had 1 minute to speak directly to a woman who feels stuck right now, what would you say?
Well, first of all, I want to say that it's not hopeless. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not the one that's messed up. You're not the hot mess. You're not it's none of those things. This is just old conditioning. It's just old patterns. That is your brain trying to just look at the past to try to say, but see, you can't have this. The person that you're thinking of now. So, I want you to know that that is completely normal. You're a human and that's what humans are going to do. But I also want you to know that you deserve to at least try to go after what it is that you want. Like you genuinely deserve it. I don't care anything about your background. I don't care
Right.
anything. I don't care who you are, what bad you have done. You deserve to step into a different version of yourself and be your true, authentic self and get whatever it is that you want: money, joy, freedom, peace, happiness, love. I don't care. Like you deserve that. And I am the kind of person I was haunted by the version that I wanted to become. And I feel like so many people are, and they just stay in
Yes.
this like conflict forever, a very, very long time. Um, but I promise you, this is going to be the most cliche saying is like everything truly is on the other side of like the unknown and the fear.
Right.
And you are going to be so proud of yourself. Like you really, really are. So don't discount yourself and absolutely go after it. That's what I
Awesome. I
would
love
say.
that message. I love that message.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much, Mel. I really appreciate you being here. Now,
Yes.
where can people find you and connect with your work?
Yes. So right now I don't have a website at this current time, so I'm going to tell you my TikTok handle. Right now it's it's Mel the Mindset Coach, which is very long, but it's Mel the Mindset Coach. So people can find me there. I'm on Instagram, but if you just Google Melissa Bright, you're probably going to find most of my stuff. I had the
Okay.
Bright Side of Life podcast, so yeah, you can find me there.
Amazing. I'll go ahead and link those below so everybody can see those.
Perfect.
Yes. Well, thank you. I really appreciate this. If this conversation sparks something in you, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you're a woman who's been doing everything right but can't seem to break past a certain level, DM me the word stuck on LinkedIn.